Number 6. Chandler Holderson. In March of 2022, Wisconsin man Chandler Holderson was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the brutal murder and dismemberment of his parents. Holderson, a man in his early 20s, had been lying to his parents, Bart and Krista, as well as to others who knew him about attending the Madison Area Technical College. He'd also falsely claimed to work for the aerospace company SpaceX, and that he was a police scuba diver using fake email addresses to further con his parents into thinking he was on a promising career path. Holderson's intricately constructed lie was discovered in the summer of 2021, when Bart contacted Madison College to ask about his son's status at the school and was told that he hadn't attended classes for more than a semester. 53-year-old Bart consequently scheduled a meeting with school officials. On July the 1st, hours before the meeting, Holderson executed his father by shooting him in the back of the head. He then killed 50-year-old Krista when she returned to their Dane County home later that same day. After dismembering his parents, Holderson tried to burn their remains in the house's fireplace before eventually discarding them in a rural area and along the Wisconsin River. He then reported them missing to the police about a week later, claiming they hadn't returned from a trip to their Langlade County cabin. Bart's remains were found on July the 8th and Krista's were discovered 6 days later. Witness testimony placed Holderson at the former scene, and before the body parts had been unearthed, the police discovered he'd searched the internet for Wisconsin dismembered body found and woman's body found in Wisconsin. Facial and knee bones as well as fragments of human skulls were also retrieved from the couple's fireplace. Holderson didn't speak during his trial, and his defense didn't call upon any witnesses. It only took a jury 2 hours to convict him of the murder and associated charges. Number 5. Courtney Iainsworth. From July the 15th to December the 13th of 2020, British woman Courtney Iainsworth of Breckendale Runcorn made nearly a dozen calls and statements to local police claiming that she was being stalked and harassed by her ex-boyfriend. 19-year-old Iainsworth had dated Lewis Jolly, aged 22, for roughly 2 years and had broken up on seemingly amicable terms in October of 2019. In the aftermath, successive accusatory reports from the young woman included that Jolly had stalked and threatened her and her new boyfriend, as well as allegations of physical and verbal assault. Iainsworth also provided the authorities with screenshots of messages and the names of fake Instagram accounts, which she claimed Jolly had created in order to harass her. The man was arrested and later released, with Iainsworth subsequently alerting the police that his stalking had only gotten worse. She offered images of damaged property and a scar on her chest, which she reported had been inflicted by Jolly with a box cutter. The police requested data information from Facebook, which owns Instagram, but releasing the information took time. The monstrous persona that had been cast upon Jolly resulted in him being arrested 6 times and spending 81 hours in custody, including being detained overnight, as well as him losing his job. On December the 4th of 2020, he was handed down an interim stalking protection order and fitted with an electronic monitor that tracked a daily curfew of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On December the 13th, Iainsworth accused him of breaching the order and her mother called the police. However, by then the young woman's web of poisonous deceit had begun to unravel. Upon retrieving her social media data, the police found that at least 17 Instagram accounts had been created using 2 of Iainsworth's email addresses and IP addresses connected to her home and mobile phone. Jolly's stalking, harassment, and assault had been entirely and unscrupulously fabricated by his ex. Iainsworth's mother, grandmother, and boyfriend had become unsuspecting participants in her complex lie. Even after she was arrested and charged, Iainsworth tried blaming Jolly for her actions, but eventually abandoned the claims and pleaded guilty to perverting the course of justice. Her defense argued that she suffered from severe childhood trauma and PTSD, but in January of 2022, she was jailed for 10 months and given a 10-year restraining order. Number 4. Alejandro Garcia. In May of 2019, a Miami-Dade police officer was taken into custody for forcefully arresting a woman and then lying about the circumstances in which the arrest had occurred. On the morning of March the 5th, 26-year-old Diamond Lovin had called 911 to report that her neighbor, Frank Tum, had brandished a shotgun and threatened her and a friend, Adriana Green, using racially charged epithets. Several members of law enforcement arrived at the scene, but it was Lovin herself who ended up being arrested by Officer Alejandro Garcia. He grabbed the mother of two by the head and dragged her to the ground, where he and other officers proceeded to handcuff her. While she was being restrained, the woman insisted that she was only trying to call her child and that her phone was dead, adding that she was stressed after having just had a gun pointed at her. Lovin was subsequently charged with resisting arrest, but the case was eventually dropped. Geraldo reported that he'd initiated the arrest because Lovin hadn't complied with the officer's commands while being disruptive and causing a scene in a residential neighborhood. Sworn testimonies from all of the other officers at the scene, as well as video footage from body cams and Green's cell phone, disproved his claims. An internal investigation concluded that Lovin had in no way acted in a threatening manner towards the police. Following his arrest, Geraldo was charged with battery and official misconduct, a felony for making false statements in an official report. Number 3. Jamie Climey. On November 24th of 2013, Jamie Climey reported to police in the township of Westchester, Ohio, that her iPhone 4S had been stolen. The claim came just one day after explicit selfies of the woman, who at the time was a 5th grade science teacher at the Cincinnati Hills Christian Academy, had surfaced on the website My Ex, which specialized in revenge adult content. The 36-year-old wife and mother maintained that she'd only sent the X-rated photos to her husband and had no idea about how they'd gotten leaked. However, users on the website appeared to be familiar with Climey, as a number of them identified her as a teacher and alleged that she'd had extramarital affairs at other learning institutions where she'd been employed. One user commented that she makes memories at each and every school she teaches. The woman was initially placed on administrative leave, but eventually resigned from the Cincinnati private school, which had a code of conduct and morality by which staff had to abide. Forensic investigators tracked IP addresses and examined cell phone records before determining that Climey had sent at least one nude selfie to someone other than her husband. Confronted with the finding, she admitted to having lied about her phone being stolen and was charged with obstruction of official police business on January the 16th of 2014. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 10 days in jail, in addition to paying a $200 fine and court costs. Number 2. Stevie Bamford. Australian swimsuit model Stevie Bamford made international headlines in 2012 after an incident in Thailand in which she'd falsely accused a tuk-tuk driver in Thailand of assaulting and abusing her. The 21-year-old Sydney native, who is the daughter of famed rugby player Peter Tunks, had been vacationing in the country with her boyfriend at the time. Bamford alleged that while she was returning to their resort at night, she was taken to a secluded area by the tuk-tuk driver and 2 other men. She told investigators that the driver had forced himself on her while the others held her down. After a few days of interrogation, she admitted to local police that she'd made up the story so that her boyfriend wouldn't be angry at her for returning late to the resort. Bamford was found guilty at the Phuket Provincial Court in June of 2012 and sentenced to spend 15 days in the Ban Bang Jo detention center in Talang. Commenting on the gravity of the woman's false claims, a senior Thai police officer told a media outlet, "This sort of thing could damage Phuket's tourism industry." Number 1. Josie Smollett. Once lauded for his groundbreaking portrayal of a gay black man on the Empire TV series, actor Josie Smollett became the subject of widespread outrage and ridicule as it emerged that he'd staged a hate crime against himself in 2019. On January the 22nd of that year, a letter addressed to the actor was sent to the Chicago studio of his employer. It read, "Smollett, Josie, you will die," while depicting a stick figure hanging from a tree with a gun pointed towards it. About a week later, Smollett reported to Chicago police that he'd been beaten and demeaned by 2 men, one of whom he said was white, in the Streeterville neighborhood. The actor's assailants had reportedly yelled out racial and homophobic slurs while using their hands, feet, and teeth in the purported beatdown. The ski-masked men then poured a chemical substance, later determined to have been bleach, on him and wrapped a rope around his neck. They'd also supposedly yelled at the actor, "This is MAGA country," in reference to President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan. Smollett who claimed to have fought off his attackers, wasn't seriously injured and later released in good condition from Northwestern Memorial Hospital. In the immediate aftermath, there was instant support for Smollett from a number of prominent figures, including then presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, who compared it to a modern lynching. However, the supposed hate crime's true nature was revealed shortly thereafter. Nigerian brothers Abimbola and Olabinjo Osundaro, who worked as extras on Empire, revealed that Smollett had staged the attack. Police had raided their apartment and discovered records indicating that the actor had paid them $3,500 to take part in it, while surveillance footage from a clothing store had captured them buying the gloves, ski masks, and red hat they'd used. The brothers became key witnesses against Smollett and claimed they'd rehearsed the attack, which the actor had hoped would be captured on nearby surveillance cameras with the intention of sharing the footage on his social media. Unfortunately for him, the cameras were facing the wrong way. The authorities reported that he'd fabricated the hate crime out of dissatisfaction with his pay on Empire. In March of 2022, Smollett was found guilty on 5 counts of felony disordered conduct and sentenced to 150 days in jail. In several video-recorded courtroom outbursts, he professed his innocence and repeatedly shouted, "I am not suicidal," seemingly suggesting there was a conspiracy to assassinate him if he'd be sent to jail. He was released on a personal recognizance bond in mid-March, pending the outcome of his conviction appeal. Thanks for watching. Would you rather always speak the truth regardless of the consequences, or always have someone else pick the clothes you wear when going out? Let us know in the comments section below.